Good morning, everyone. Breakfast over. Yeah, Sufi night over. And now you got to listen to this guy talking about digital transformation early in the morning. Yeah. Yeah, it's very rare for me to be in the midst of all marketeers. Yeah, so just that I get a bit of a bearing of who I'm talking to. So just a raise of hands, everyone. Who all are a marketeer here? Pretty much everyone, or okay, so if it is not marketing, what other fields would be represented here, perhaps? Could you shout out someone who's not a marketeer? Or all of you are marketeers? Tech, some of you are tech. How many tech folks? Okay, few of you tech folks. Any other cohort, as the marketeers say? Sorry? That's it. Largely marketeers and tech, right? All right, yeah, let me try and spend the next few minutes uh, sharing with you my perspective on this word called digital transformation. You know, if you just Google it, I guess there would be billions of articles or search results, right? I have a point of view on transformation, and I'll share that with you, and then also share some of the stuff we are doing at Indigo, yeah? Yeah, and please feel free to interrupt me at any stage and make it as interactive. There are two parts. Actually, it's quite bizarre, Shiny, that you call this presentation Accelerating Digital, because that's also the title of a book I wrote. It got published last year. But, you know, two parts to the presentation, yeah? One is, why should anybody bother? Marketeers, finance guys, enterprise folks, entrepreneurs, startups, why should we bother? The why question, and I'll share some thoughts there. And then, what does it mean as far as we are concerned, and what are we doing about it? Yeah, so just these two parts of the presentation. Yeah, so let me first start with the why. You know, why should we bother? I mean, you know, I was in Emirates in 2013. I was in a Emirates airline in Dubai, and you know, I was having this IT steering board meeting, and our president at that stage, and we were doing very well. 2013-14 fiscal year, we made the biggest bonus for all the employees, right? Really hit high, right? Now, of course, for the last 2 years, the company has done really very well. But, you know, I remember the president saying, let's examine the aviation business model from the lens of technology, right? So that was the kind of brief. But then I went to Dubai Holding. I mean, I remember in Emirates, after that mandate from Tim Clark, you know, when we assembled a lot of people in a circular, and I said, you know, the president had asked, let's have a look at our business from the lens of technology. Most of the senior folks were wondering, why should we bother, right? We are hitting a high here. Everything is good. Why should we even talk about this transformation, disruption? We don't understand, right? My next stint was with Dubai Holding. At that stage, I was appointed a digital officer, so they obviously knew what transformation is. It's no longer technology. But you know, by that stage, most people thought this is important and we need to do something, right? And I think by the time I've joined Indigo, this seems to have become a norm. People know about it, they're very worried about it, and they want to respond to what's happening. But let me just share with you why I think it's important. I think first and foremost, yourselves, marketeers and tech guys, are in this world of customer. But I think first and foremost is the fact that the customers are fundamentally changing our worldview, right? You know, when we were in the products business, if you're in the products business, they're asking for services. If you're in the services business, they're asking for experiences. Today in Indigo, we deliver a product. We are now being propelled in the world of experiences, right? And then if you go up the hierarchy, you know, people line up at Apple shops late in the night because they perhaps trust. Trust is perhaps the next area, you know, for brands and for... So customers seems to be propelling their expectations up a hierarchy, right? And some of us need to examine beyond experiences is trust. What comes next, right? What is it that the customers are wanting that we need to align with? But what is notwithstanding is that the customer wants and needs are going through a hierarchy, right? The other bit is, you know, kind of Accenture invented this term, so I'm just using what they said, or liquid expectations or fluid expectations, yeah? I was talking to my friend from Swiggy in the morning. The fact is, if Swiggy, which is a very small value, kind of relatively small value, order value, versus, let's say, an aviation company, but if they do a fantastic refund, experience, the customers don't really care, right? They would expect any brand to have the same response on their digital channels at least, right? So the other thing that customers are driving is they are just fluid. They are cutting through these industries, right? We think we have joined industry, aviation, banking, whatever, but customers' are expectations are kind of cutting through those, right? And wanting us to, respond to the needs from whatever they experience the best, right? So I think that's another thing, right? Oh, sorry, this went ahead. Okay, guys, has anybody heard of Meta Galactica? Anyone in the room? Any of the tech guys? Anybody heard of DeepMind Sparrow? As a, yeah, that's great, because if all of you raised your hands, I won't have a story here, right? Anybody heard of ChatGPT? Yeah, pretty much everyone, right? Yeah. And I think if you just study the evolution of LLMs, you would realize that the first two were born earlier, right? But what has changed is what a trillion-dollar company built, right? Innovation for simplification for customers, right? We end up innovating and IT and AI and all these fancy words and complicating life for our customers, but somebody's made $1 trillion on a text box, right? When was the last time you used advanced search on Google? Really never, right? I haven't used it forever, right? Imagine, simplified AI. There's a lot of AI beyond what happens in that text box, right? So, first and foremost, I guess the reason it's important that we make life easy for our customers, human experience, marketeers experience, trust. The first thing transformation and digital transformation is relevant for all of us is because customers are changing, right? So that's one. I think the second bit is, when I started this journey of mine in 2013, by the time I was an IT guy, my transformation journey started when this question was asked. Actually, most of life's learning is through questions, right? When, in this case, our president said, should we examine aviation industry and Emirates Airline from the lens of technology, right? I mean, that was a very broad mandate, right? Then I started realizing, the other thing that's happening in our world is, the business models, there's a proliferation of business models, right? Anybody's heard of this company called Dollar Shave Club by any chance? Yeah, some of you? Why don't you shout out? What is it about? Yeah, who would have thought, right? Shaving as a subscription, right? Nobody would have thought that a business model like this exists, but it did very well. Gillette ignored it for a number of years, but I don't know whether you're aware, finally they had to acquire the company, right? So I think the other reason we should be aware or transformation or digital transformation is important is because we are in a world of amazing business models, right? Yeah. And platforms as a business model has really become predominant, and that is the one which is resulting in kind of industries being born within, traditional industries, right? Yeah, because platforms allow you to just orchestrate with AI, yeah, and with the GMVs and the valuations, it's quite crazy what happens as a result, right? Anybody heard of Singles Day? Yeah, please tell us. Yeah, please, one of you. Yeah. 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 Because, these good guys in Alibaba said, everywhere in the world we have these Thanksgiving days, or in case of India, we have a lot of religion-related days. They didn't have any, right? There's no day like this in China. So all these merry men got together and invented Singles Day. Yeah, that was an invention. So all singles on 11/11 are supposed to shop. Yeah. Any idea the GMV in 24 hours? Any shout-outs? How much GMV goes through 11/11 Singles Day in 24 hours? Sorry? 30 billion you said, right? Yeah? Yeah. Just think about it, right? When I was doing my TEDx, this was in 2016, right? I remember a slide which said $18 billion in 24 hours. Yeah. Somebody said 30 billion. That was the last milestone. I think during COVID, they opened it up for a few more days. Some $72 billion in a single day goes through these platforms. If it ain't disruption, guys, I don't know what is disruption then, right? I mean, in a good year, large companies make that much in a good year. This we are talking about 24 days. Couldn't have happened if the platform business model was not born, right? So the second reason we should examine digital transformation in all aspects of life is because of business models. Especially if you're an entrepreneur, you come up with an idea, make sure you check because somebody's probably already invented. It's just not diffused, as yet in the world. So another area to look at, embedded finance, embedded retail, loyalty, monetizing data, building business models within large traditional or other enterprises is perhaps another area, right? And not because I'm a technologist. I mean, most of my life has been technology. This particular stint in Indigo, we've got marketing and loyalty programs and a lot more under our team's remit. But I think the other thing is technology is shifting the game, right? So, do you need to learn coding? Of course not. Although, when I was in Dubai Holding, we took up this challenge, there was COVID time. We got 300 folks live on Teams, and we got them step by step to code using AI, and this was all remotely managed. And it was quite fascinating. What the code did was, it created a unique picture using AI, right? Yeah. So I remember, I had this experiment of 300 people doing one by one remotely, and then when they said play, or when you on your coding platform you say run, they got an image, right? And whoosh, within 10 minutes, I had the Teams chat channel full of these photographs people were posting on Instagram. It was magical, right? But that's not the idea, right? The idea is not for marketeers or CEOs or whatever to know coding, although it'll be lovely to do some of it. The idea is to know that it is having a strategic impact, right? Yeah. We launched Sky, soup to nuts. By the way, how many of you have used Indigo? That's what's going to be, thank you so much. What's going to be thoroughly embarrassing for me is the next question, which I'm still going to ask. And then Kshitij can, be embarrassed as well, and, we'll probably do something. How many of you have used our mobile app or website to book a flight? Okay, God bless. There are a few of you. Thank you. Yeah, we are around 18% direct now. How many of you good people have used our conversational channel called Sky? One person. God bless you. Where are you? Is there anybody else? Just one of you. Kshitij. So we still have to do a good job there, Kshitij, in terms of making people aware. But we launched Sky, which is our conversational booking engine, right? Soup to nuts between 90 to 100 days, yeah? And thank you for using it. Yeah, I study the transcripts of Sky, right? It's an AI engine. You converse with it. Now with WhatsApp, Sky, you can talk to it. We've launched it in 3 languages, right? We made around 15 crores out of the channel since launch. So some of you are using it, but very few. I get around 10 bookings a day. Yeah. But AI is here to stay. It's unbelievable. A kid in IIM Sirmaur, young girl, I was doing this, you guys do this in, this speed dating with marketeers or whatever, right? So they were doing this speed dating with us advisors. So one of the kids asked me saying, but AI can never get emotional. And I had to tell her, I study the transcripts of Sky, and sometimes it responds in a fascinatingly emotional and personalized manner, right? So AI is a fascinating technology, and we have to watch out. We have to watch it, right? We have launched in Indigo, we have launched Sky. We are scaling Sky, right? We've got WhatsApp Sky, we've got Web Sky, we've got App Sky, internal Sky, employee Sky, whatever, right? We are scaling Sky, right? But what we are watching next, actually, and experimenting within our labs is something called agentic AI, which is the next wave. And what's fascinating is Stanford did this experiment, right? And you should just read it up. Yeah. And they just set some basic rules to these agents, let them talk to each other, and within a few months, They were behaving like humans. It's ridiculous, right? What do you mean behaving like humans, right? They're code after all. But have a look, right? So technology is shifting. Quantum, I've been tracking this for a number of years, as you do if you're an IT geek. I think it's coming of age. We are now experimenting with a South American startup because there are certain problems in aviation which are so tricky that they need a next level of computing, right? The next paradigm. So quantum is one. You know, remember Moderna, anyone? Thank God we don't, right? I mean, it's gone, right? Hopefully that age, right? But it was scary that time. But just look at it, right? Moderna CEO Stefan, right? When he launched Moderna, this is what he says. This is fascinating. It's a bio company. It launches vaccines, right? Right? This guy is saying we are a technology company that happens to do biology, right? And you might say, oh, maybe it's a marketeer's twist to to make it interesting, but it's not. If you go and study this HBR article, they've actually created a kind of a platform, a digital platform, and the corona kind of mRNA virus was like an app, like it's akin to a app on your app store, right? So yeah, the world is shifting right in front of our eyes. Don't learn coding, but if you do enjoy it, try it once in a while. But strategically, please remain connected to what technology is going to do to your business, to yourselves, to your children, to your next door neighbor next, because you don't want to become kind of irrelevant, right? And VUCA world, we all know, I mean, unbelievable what's happening in the last few years. You just cannot be stable, right? Something or the other comes and whacks you, left, right, center, right? The airline is doing well, fuel comes down, right? There's some SARS, there's some issue, left, right, or the, I mean, if there is one competence we need in this world is anti-fragility, right? Ability to be able to take these hits and actually soar higher, yeah? So disruption is not a myth. If you had to study what got disrupted, I'll kind of share my age as a consequence of what I'm going to say. But when I used to go to the US, these were the brands, right? We would go and show our love to, right? All these retail brands, right? Toys R Us, there's all gone. All of them. Just have a study of the retail apocalypse. Pretty much every brand you knew has got disrupted with the transformation journey that we are on, right? My dear friend Ray, I love his quote. He says, digital Darwinism is unkind to those who wait. You just cannot wait today, right? Saying, maybe this will pass away. Maybe AI will not have an impact on my business. Absolutely not. There's a kid, I tell you, I met him, PhD in Stanford, working with Chris Ray. I had a chat with these two young kids. What are they doing? Disrupting one of the biggest SaaS companies through this garage, right? Using agentic AI, right? This company is currently worth 35 billion. I don't think the CEO even knows. Right? So this is the world we live in. If you don't enjoy change, you're going to enjoy irrelevance even less. So my view then, because of this, because of customers, because of business models, because of all the change that's happening, right? I think we need to transform. We call it within Indigo being digital. It's not just about doing digital. It's not about putting an ERP. That's very difficult, I know. It's not about putting a mobile site out there. It's very difficult, I know. It's much more deeper, right? What are we doing? We have 3 layers of our transformation strategy, right? What you do, what you leave behind, and what you become, right? What you do is important. Of course, we are digitizing Indigo in all aspects of Indigo. I mean, 2.5 years I've been here. Last I took a check. We ran 80 projects together as a team. Kshitij is not able to shave as a result of that. He's not getting any time. Right? Because we're running mad, right? We've got 80, 90 projects. What to do? You've got to digitize every corner of Indigo. But you also got to do that business model investigation. I don't know whether you know, but we launched a hotel site, a hotel funnel on Indigo, right? I can tell you it was very difficult, right? Because we do have aviation folks. I'm an aviation folks. Kya kar rahe ho yaar? Why are you looking at hotels? We have flights to do. But the whole idea, remember? Embedded business models, right? I've just filed a SEBI application for Indigo Ventures. Yeah? Because my view is out there somewhere, in some garage, there are kids who are reinventing travel, and I want to connect with them in a formalized manner, right? So monetization. Capabilities are what we are doing as the underpinning, what you leave behind, data, AI, and then, of course, the key is mindset, right? So if you look at digitization per se, There's digitization for our customer. Sky WhatsApp app, two aspects there. Really try and get to the best digital channels for your customers, but also be where they are, right? So WhatsApp created so much, when we launched WhatsApp on Sky, that's where our customers are, right? So we wanted to be where our customers are. We hope to go next to Instagram, right? And if you try and check in on WhatsApp, it's a real smooth process. Yeah, I want to check in, give me your PNR, bang, you get the boarding pass, right? So yeah, and then there is no CX without EX. I remember in Emirates, we launched our great, applications for our customers, and then I'm telling you, 15 years back, right, or even longer, we had, I don't know if you ever took an Emirates flight then, yeah, we had a system which the crew called KISS. And it's not what you're thinking, it was a geeky thing which is knowledge-driven in-flight services, right? Some geek had invented it, it caught on to short form. But in those days, we had KISS available on laptops, telling the crew which Skywards member is sitting where, and exactly what we are going to do with our own crew. We are going to launch something. So there is no CX without EX, right? So if you do digital transformation for your customers, you're going to do it and for your employees. And then, of course, invisible ops is all the digitization you do, right? Monetization, we're launching a loyalty program. Soon you should hear about it. Ventures, I told you about marketplaces. The whole idea is to look at monetizing your funnels, right? Then, of course, the work that we do together, the digital capabilities, fantastic thing that Kshitij and team and Nikhil, these guys did, right? Building these beautiful communities, right? Sometimes brand get just too carried away. Kshitij, what have we got? 6 million people on social? 6 million, right? Organically, fine. That's where customers are engaging with us. But I think the team also felt we should also be where our customers are, right? So there are photographers, there's girl power, there are students, there is sports, right? So we are trying to build and nurture these communities where our customers are already engaging. And I think this is a great example. I did not know him. I'd seen his movies, but recently I had the good privilege of meeting him. Very humble guy, so great for our brand, right? That we are working with superstars like this, right? So yeah, building these communities. Another, what you leave behind are people ask me, right? How do you know what's happening next in tech or what's happening next in marketing or loyalty or whatever, right? Nobody has a clue. You don't know whether this is a fad or it is a general purpose technology. Who knows, right? One of the things you need to do, in my humble opinion, is do experiments, right? So you need a lab of some sort. You need some freedom in the governance processes. So we built one. In fact, if you visit us at Indigo now, there is a physical manifestation of the lab just coming up, yeah, which is quite an interesting space because you can't show software physically, right? You can't show AI physically, it resides in the systems, but we are doing something creative there to make it a place for collaboration, right? Then, of course, what do you leave behind in terms of mindset? I think the key is exponential mindset, right? What better country to have this than this beautiful country, right? Listen, I spent 27 years in Dubai. I've spent 2.5 years here. I am just absolutely exhilarated and exhausted. The amount of, mindset that exists in our country, when I talk to students, communities like this, it's just mind-blowing, right? The fact that you could party till 4 o'clock and look so fresh in the morning itself is quite exponential, right? Yeah. So it's quite amazing, right? Everybody talks exponential here. It's like the valley, right? But beautiful, I think we should do that. That's a key component of transformation journeys where people think exponentially, right? And in Indigo, I could lay down at least 15 things, at least in our minds, that we are trying to do differently, right? But I was talking to somebody in another setting, and that guy said, even our CEO is exponential, but you never ask us the tiredness that we face. So, point taken. We always say, take the next big leap, but it does tire people out, right? Co-creation, I ran my first hackathon, again, a number of years back, right? Anyone here has done a hackathon? Participated? I tell you, if you ever wanted to feel uninitiated and sad, right, about yourself, run a hackathon. I ran a hackathon. I had done travel industry. I must have been 16, 17 years, right? Although you are not arrogant, internally you think you are a guru. So we ran this hackathon in the valley. We had 300 people. Youngest kid was 12 years. The most senior people in the round table, I still remember, were 60 plus. Next day morning, 24 hours, they unveiled their thoughts on travel. I was absolutely blown away, right? Co-creation. Do not think you know everything, right? There's somebody else who knows better. You know, ourselves, Kshitij, myself, we are working with different partners, right? As you can see, you know, to try and co-create the journey for our customers. I think that's very important, right? And then finally, I'm just going to wrap up. We have a few minutes for questions. You know, finally, all change is finally about yourself, right? So this is a story I was reading in one of the learning sessions, right? So there was a satellite launched with some folks away from Earth, right? It was zooming away, right? So everybody was standing there looking outside, right? And saying, what a beautiful thing, we have launched ourselves. Everybody's looking this side, right? Yeah? And it's going, everybody's quite excited in that room, right? One of the folks, I don't know, must be some crazy guy, just turns around and looks this way, right? What do you think he sees or he or she sees? Turn around. The satellite is zooming up, launched, going towards space. Everybody's looking at that window. One person turns around, looks the other way. What do they see? Sorry? The facing of the people who launched. That's very precisely. What else do you think they're seeing, right? Happy faces. Yeah, the people who miss the flight. I missed my flight, right? Yeah. They see Earth, right? They see where you're coming from, right? So, you know, I think all change, all transformation is finally about turning the telescope to yourself and realizing that finally all transformation is within ourselves, right? And that's the big realization I've had. You know, the problem is this way. There is a business model they are not accepting. Whatever it is, right? I think all transformation is about changing yourself and looking at new things and new perspectives and co-creating yourself, right? I mean, companies don't exist. There are people within companies, right? So this is what I think transformation is all about. Thank you very much for listening to me. Slightly random topic. I'm sure we have a few minutes for any questions. If yeah.
Any questions?
I'm not sure whether you have a, here.
Sorry.
Do you have a loyalty program?
Sir, if I go back, it's cooking up. It's just about cooking up. As we had said earlier, in fact, it's in the press, so I can share this with you. Our anniversary is coming up in August, and we will unveil it in August, right?
Sexy idea.
Thank you for that. Thank you for that encouragement. You know, I was very worried when I came in and I said we have to have one, and it took me some time to cook it up, but I think we've hired a great team. They've been designing it for a while, and we'll unveil it soon. So thank you for. All right. Thank you for that input. Yeah.
Hello, sir. I'm a big fan of Indigo flights.
Thank you so much, sir.
A curious question, actually. Why the loyalty program not introduced earlier, and why now? Because I've been always searching for the loyalty program for Indigo, but never find it.
Yeah. Yeah, boss. I don't know why not. I came like 2.5 years back, right? We had a absolute amazing program in Emirates. It was a different business model, right? I would presume that the thinking at that stage was that worry, right? What is Indigo, right? 4 big things, I think, are proposition to customers, right? Affordable fares, and loyalty programs can get tricky, as you know. You got to balance, the proposition and affordable fares, Indigo standard time, a great network, right, and hassle-free service. I would presume that the reason loyalty programs in low-cost airlines are a difficult bet to take is because perhaps the worry is around, affordability, right? And second is, in Emirates, the biggest draw was the upgrade to business, right? We didn't have that, but as you know, for certain sectors now, we are planning to. So I wouldn't know what it was, but I would conjecture that is the reason, right? But over the last 2 years, we are very clear, the board has approved it, we've been designing it. It has taken me more time, so the only guy to blame for the delay is myself, right? It's taken me some time to design it, but we are very near to a launch now, yeah.
Hi, I just wanted to ask you something which is not about loyalty.
Yeah.
Two things. One, when you really take the D2C full blown, where are you expecting the growth from? Rural, urban markets, because flying has been made possible even in tier 2. And second question, what percentage are you looking at or expecting will shift from marketplaces to your D2C platforms?
Yeah. So, I'm sure that's true of other industries, but in travel industry, right, maybe I'll take a bit of a stop. Is there press in the room? Are you going to publish this or what? Are you going to publish? Okay. So can I just say something weird, right? So, what's happened in the aviation industry, right, is we've kind of said it's too difficult. Aviation is difficult. I'll manage operations. But, my customer, GDS, MADS, whatever else, you take care of them. Yeah? I don't want to manage my customer. That's ridiculous, right? We need to get that control or that direct interaction, digital interaction with our customers back, right? When I started the journey with Indigo, we were at 8% direct. Yeah? We are currently at 18%. Not huge. That means 72% is coming somewhere. So I see a huge amount of growth potential in this percentage, driven by two things. One is, of course, the fact that there is going to be new customers coming and wanting to use digital channels. So it's not about taking it away from the aggregators. There's growth to be had, and some of it we will balance. I call it a balancing act between us and our value chain, right? So that's the answer on D2C. We are at 18. We hope to grow it. It's very important to us, right? But we want to balance it out with our distributors, and there's also growth in the industry, right? That's one. Second is marketplaces. The reason we are building marketplaces is again two things there, right? The predominant one is that when you come into our funnels, right, you can get a composite travel experience, right? Out there, you don't have to go anywhere. So it's a contributor to D2C. That's one. Have I got an exact percentage there? Not yet. We've just launched hotels just a month back, yeah. And the second is my whole view of business models, right? Ability to kind of experiment with business models and saying, is there new funnels to be had from data, right? So we are traversing both of these kind of objectives, yeah.
Hey, hi Nitin. Just wanting to get a sense around, I think combine all people in this room, we are amidst maybe the top 2% of the country, might be from that lens. But for the next, say, I was reading somewhere, I think you have almost 150 odd million passengers who take an airline in India, they're expecting to double down, right? And while they double down, there's going to be a whole new wave of the tier 2, tier 3, tier 4 passengers coming up. And I really think for a flight, except for people like us, all that people care about is time and price while they book a flight. They care about the timing of the flight and the price of the flight,
yeah,
that way around, right? How do you think of this next generation of the first-time flyers coming in? What are their experiences? Because I still feel the kind of stuff that you're building is maybe for all people like us. But for the next 150 million who's coming in, what do you think of that?
No, thank you so much, right? You're so right, I mean, my worry is, and I'll just share openly with you, right? I sit in a corporate office in Gurgaon, right? My customers, the new customers are going into these tier 3 and tier 4, tier 2 cities. You're absolutely right, right? That's something we need to make sure that, kind of is baked into our end-to-end experience, yeah? Of course, without violating these 4 core propositions that we have, affordability being one, and Indigo Standard Time, as you mentioned, are important to you. They're important to you, hence they are very important to us, yeah? So first-time flyers, tier 2 cities, tier 3 cities, those customers, those segments are hugely important to us, yeah? We are about to craft an entire kind of journey for them, as I said, these communities are important to us, and then we are currently designing and looking at the data for this community. And I promise you, because that's important for the business, that's where our new customers are going to come from, that end to end, right? See, I'll tell you girl power, right? We painted the Dronacharya station. I don't know whether you know, right? I bring a lot of my friends there. They get totally inspired, right? And that's wonderful. That was Nikhil, that was these guys, they did it, right? It's beautiful. It's reflecting of the girl power, kind of mantra, right? But then now we have to bake up into the core of our business, right? That what does that segment want? How should they book? How should they experience? Similarly, with first-time flyers, we need to look at the entire value chain and create that experience. We are on it. I don't have an answer right now, but that's a segment we are about to launch on. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Nitin. That was so inspirational, absolutely lovely. I think the last thought that you shared, the transformation is within each one of us and it starts within us. Thank you so much. That was great.
Thank you.
We have a couple of gifts for you.